dare to thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Lennox Wasara. Let's talk a little bit about stokvels, right? For decades, South Africa's stokvel sector has operated on the fringes of the formal financial services system, the financing almost everything from groceries, school supplies to household supplies, appliances, and all the likes. But in recent years, stokvels have gained increasing legitimacy as a powerful savings vehicle across the country and also across the continent. In South Africa in particular, they estimate nearly 12 million people are participating in as members of stokvels, but also noting that they estimate that about 50 billion rand in investments is actually allocated through stokvels. So certainly an important conversation to have around stokvels, but also an important contribution they do make to the economy. And it's important that today I'm joined by Josephine Bilo, who certainly is involved right in this industry. Josephine, how are you doing?
I'm great, Lenny. Thanks for having me on your show.
Incredible. I mean, I'm truly excited to be talking to you today and just to find out more about the stokvel space. But before we get there, I want to find out a little bit more about your journey. I mean, how did everything sort of unfold for you to be where you are presently in your role at Spot Money?
Sure. Well, I've been in the startup/tech industry for over a decade now. And so I think my journey has largely been driven by my passion for people. Through that journey, I also gained a passion for tech through the exposure of tech and seeing how it can change people's lives and improve people's lives for the better. So just marrying the two between my love for people as well as my love for tech has really brought me to the place that I am today, in the space that I am today in the industry.
Now, I like that a lot, and I'm actually intrigued by the fact that your journey and your passion for love for people is taking you to where you are, which is really important. In simple terms, how would you describe the stokvel industry?
Okay, so I think the stokvel industry is really a communal way to bring funds together and to make large amounts of money or larger amounts of money accessible for people who generally don't have access to, say, for example, loans or even bank accounts, for example. So I think it's a great vehicle that is used in communities to really empower themselves. And it's an exciting thing for myself also, just to marry that traditional community vibe along with, leading edge tech, pushing that agenda forward to, again, improve the lives of the ordinary person.
That's certainly true. And the spirit of Ubuntu, some people would allude to, very important.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also just wondering, I mean, how did this industry start gaining legitimacy? What had to happen?
Well, as you rightfully mentioned, Lenny, the numbers don't lie. I mean, 12 million people that are participating in stokvels, that is a big chunk of the population. 500 billion rand in transactions. I mean, that is a lot of money. So it's clearly a space that can't be ignored. It's clearly a powerful force to be reckoned with, and it's certainly time that we give it the recognition that it deserves in the formal financial sector. So I think as startups, as disruptive technology, which Spot Money is, we're really trying to push that agenda forward and really remove all the pain points and hassles that have been experienced by people that have participated in stokvels.
If I'm listening now and I'm thinking, well, stokvels, my mom isn't part of them, maybe my grandmother or something like that, or my parents are really involved in them. I mean, I'm young, and what do I need to do in that? Yeah. I mean, what do you say to that argument, a young person who probably kind of excludes themselves from stokvels? How can they get involved considering the net benefits you just mentioned?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll just give you an example, a personal example of how Stokvel was really helpful to me, when I was, just entering the job market, and I really wasn't responsible enough to save, as well as I just did not have that mental capacity to save money. But what Stokvel does is that it really generates, when you share the responsibility of saving money with several people, you automatically already feel a lot more accountable than you would if you were saving money on your own. And so, just that shared aspect of saving money and, increasing our financial balances as a group of people, as opposed to doing it individually, I think that's something that's really, really powerful. So, yeah.
That's true. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, what are some of the uses that you're seeing a lot of people using Stokvels for? We know how the older generation particularly goes about using Stokvels, but maybe you could expound a bit more on how you've seen young people use Stokvels in this day and age.
Sure. I think definitely savings and investment is a really big use case with Stokvel. I think in the more younger generation, especially things like saving up for holidays, saving up for girls' trips, shared accounts as well as Stokvels become really handy. As I mentioned, the sense of that communal accountability really comes into play. And I think one of the really just to touch on how our technology really kind of just improves that experience altogether is the fact that your shared accounts that you can create on the spot gives you a real sense of transparency, and you see the ins and outs of the account, so you know who's depositing money when, withdrawing money when, and therefore it creates a much more secure way of managing Stokvels.
Now that's true. But let's talk a bit about technology at large, and maybe your technology in particular with spot money. How is this making Stokvels operate in a more fluid manner?
Wow, I could probably give you a list of a plethora of ways in which spot money is really pushing the Stokvel agenda to the 21st century and really modernizing it. I really like to call it a touch of Afrocentrism as well as Afrofuturism. Taking traditional concepts and using modern technology to push those agendas forward, and that's really what we're doing. Things that we've seen as caveats within the Stokvel industry, things like a big deal, things like trust, things like security. Traditionally, when we're talking about Stokvels, you get the one treasurer, let's call him a treasurer, that manages all the funds. He's responsible for the ins and outs and the depositing and the withdrawal of those funds, as well as the dishing out of the funds when it's your turn to receive, your part of the money. But with spot money, what we've created with shared accounts is that we're giving a transparency. We're giving a transparent view of the ins and outs of an account, of a transactional account. You don't even really get that in traditional banks at all. If I'm an account holder, nobody else has access to my account. But with the shared account, everybody sees what's going on. Everybody who's a member of that account sees what's going on. Secondly, another big pain point with regards to Stokvels is the deposit fees as well as the withdrawal fees, and the time that's spent waiting for the money to reflect in a traditional bank account, or even the time that you spend waiting at an ATM to deposit those funds into the beneficiary's account. With spot money, it's all instant. So that means that the transaction that you're making into the shared account is in real time. as well as we don't have any service fees for depositing funds. So it's cheap and it's instant. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, really.
No, that's true. I mean, after listening to this, I'm certainly going to consider opening possibly a shared account and rallying my friends together to sort of build that whole view and attitude of savings as well. Doing so at quite an early age is very important, and something that a lot of young people are starting to really get behind. So thank you so much, Josephine, for such an insightful chat with me today.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. And just before we part ways, just to add on to that, it's probably the easiest way to open a transactional account is with Spot Money. All you need to do is search for Spot Money SA on your Android Play Store or your Apple Play Store. All it takes is just a few minutes for you to verify your account with your ID, and Bob's your uncle. It literally takes 3 minutes. So really encourage everybody to open an account with us and really start feeling the magic that's Spot Money, and let's start revolutionizing the way that we make money move.
Incredible. Thank you so much, and appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Lenny.
That's Josephine Beer, who is a representative for Spot Money, talking at length about how you can use a shared account to reach your financial goals, but also how you can certainly make Stokvels easily accessible for us, the younger generation. Thank you for watching.